Hello, good afternoon again. And again I'm going to try and embrace several questions together. And start, as always, by just being present. Feeling my feet on the ground and being aware. There's a road over to my left with some people walking along it and talking a bit, and this river flowing to my right. But in between and embracing both, there is this eternal peace, ever present, whatever the circumstances. And it's on this rock, this certain sure rock, that one can begin to venture forth into the realm of questions without hopefully getting lost. And I'd like to just consider the word present. In my last video I spoke of presence, that which is here before we start functioning with our senses, the before sense, pre-sense. And now I'm going to just ask you to consider the word present, the present. What is it, the present? Well, here now, in this simple awareness of being present, there's a wonderful simplicity, isn't there? And just a bubbling up, rising joy in just being present. And you know, there's no criticism. There's no judgment at all. Even some interruptive voices and a motorbike going along the road arouses not one crumb of criticism. So where does criticism come from? Now then, you see what I'm getting at. Present is pure being, present. And then arise the complications that you and I make of it. The criticism, the duality, the me and you, the ego separate from this oneness of being present. That's why it's such a marvelous, fundamental principle, really, to just, whenever we don't know what to do, just to be present. And immediately confidence and love for all just flows. And if we really want to get the world in proportion and try to understand these complex matters of the world, we need to feel this present, to be present. And then we'll begin to realize that all this judgment, this unpleasantness that arises in the world, all the argument, the criticism, simply arises from me being absent from presence. Because in the real world, which is before it's sent into the hands of you and me to do what we want to do with it, It's pure, and there's no problem and no question, and what's more, no coronavirus. These things don't exist in the real world. It's only in this false world of absence from presence, that these things arise as a consequence of our being absent from the source of all goodness, which is here and now. So that puts criticism and judgment in a nutshell, doesn't it? So much for that. The less we do of it, the better. Come back to being present, my dears, and you'll find that all that unpleasantness will just evaporate out of your lives. Problem solved. Now then, another question that came through this week from a young man called Oscar. I think he must have come from somewhere up in Scandinavia, but he spoke beautiful English, and he wrote a sweet letter about all the different religions and philosophies, all saying different things, and for goodness sake, which one should he follow? And all with their own codes of do this or don't do that. How on earth is anyone meant to make head or tail out of that lot? Well, same answer, my dear. Be present and realize that all this confusion arises not from God, but from man. Man absent from the presence of God. And you know, in the real presence, there's no name, is there? You don't have to say that's wild garlic and that's a dandelion and that's something else and that's something else. It's not divided into name and form. In fact, although you can look at the different things, there's an overall harmony of the leaves. You know, like a field of grass. Where does one blade of grass end and the other begin? Or is it grass? Grass as a sort of collective, a oneness of grass. And you know, life isn't so different. And the more we draw back into this simplicity of just being present in the present, the more all these questions of name and form will just, like criticism, dissolve away, and you'll laugh at it. And you'll find that the true religion, which simply means turning back to the source, is always here and now. And there's no need to put a name or form onto it, because it's a spiritual thing. You can never be closer to God than here and now. And if you don't believe me, my dears, as I keep saying to you, try it for yourself and see. Be deeply present now. Feel this all-embracing arms that are holding us in this infinite peace and goodness that is ever present. And then get back into a room full of people arguing about religion and see which is closest to God. There you are. Use your common sense. God bless you. Until another day.